I like your getup, man.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to get to speak with you today. My name is Jorgie from POC Culture.
Nice to meet you.
I've been a big fan of yours, in Marvel growing up, and so it's such a treat to get to meet you, especially a day before my birthday. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
What birthday?
February 3rd.
February 3rd, but what's your age?
Oh, I'm sorry, 23rd.
23?
Correct, yeah. Thank you so much.
When you said growing up with Marvel, I was confused for a second, but I can't see your face, so it makes sense now.
So following the success of your last film, this is one of the most anticipated movies. Can you tease or describe this second installment with 3 words?
3 words? Absolutely not. No, but I can give you 3 adjectives.
Sure.
Electric, intimate, epic.
I love that. And can you also tease for the fans, where do we find Gurney in this film following the downfall in the
I think half the people think that he died at the end of that film, the first film, and then you see him now, he's re-revealed in the desert, kind of heartbroken that he felt, he's lost this entire family that he was protecting. I think that, he's lost weight, he's kind of a desert rat now, he's like a criminal of sorts, and that's where you see him for the first time, and then he's reunited with Paul, and then he follows Paul through him coming to terms with himself.
Yeah, that makes sense with his leadership role, how that loss might weigh on him. And obviously, adapting characters is nothing new to you with Cable and Thanos and such. But are there any specific challenges in adapting a character from Dune?
No, I mean, it's great that you have the source material to be able to do it, so you have something. I mean, it's wonderful when you originate something that's purely from your imagination or from somebody else's imagination. Obviously, that's always the case, but when you have source material, it's I don't know, it's easier to kind of bounce things out because I have my, perception of what Dune is, and then Denis has his perception, and Greg Fraser has his perception, and all that kind of stuff. So it just makes for a great dialogue. I mean, you probably bring this up, but the Bautista, the song that we did, and Denis wanted me to write the lyrics, but what the best thing about writing the lyrics is I got to know my character even more. So it was a great tool that I'm sure I'll use in the future, which is, how would he think in this moment? And then suddenly you're getting kind of deeper and deeper into who he is, which obviously feeds into how you would do a scene. So yeah, it was cool.
And in the past, you've spoken about playing the Bautista. Did you have to learn that for this film, or did you already know? Did you already play it?
I've been playing the Bautista since I was like 4.5 or 5. My parents wanted me to play it, and I didn't even realize it was an instrument back then. But then, so we started early on with the skin flute, and then we ended up doing the Bautista.
That's awesome. And so obviously Dune is such an imaginative, big thing, and there's a lot of interesting ideas and themes. I was wondering, what do you find most interesting about the world of Dune?
Just the fact that it's so vast. It's like a constant survival, and what are you made of? It's constantly asking yourself, what are you made of? What are you made? Or each character, what are you made of? What are you made of? Whether it's watching Paul, transform from an adolescent into a mature, and then into the Messiah. What the Fremens go through, what even the Harkonnens go through. What are you going to do with power? How are you going to survive your own power? Is it going to end up eating you because you can't take responsibility for that power, or you need more and more? It becomes insatiable, I love any kind of survival movie like this that puts you in a setting of uncertainty. I think is supremely entertaining.
Yeah, and obviously coming back to this, it's not a sequel, but the second half to the story, the part 2. But with that, there's a lot of new additions to the cast. Can you just talk briefly about working with the new actors?
Yeah, we got Florence Pugh, who's incredible, and then we got Elvis Presley to play Faye Rauta. And Elvis is incredible. I mean, he's one of the best. I didn't know I thought he just did music, but he's an actor too. It's incredible.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
All right.
This movie has been very highly anticipated for years. So I'm wondering for the fans, can you tease the next installment with 3 words? You could use more if you like.
Okay, epic.
Epic.
Epic. Let's go. See, I want to. There's more descriptions rather than words. Epic and heartbreaking. Inspiring.
I love it.
Okay.
So on that note, can you tease a little bit about where we find your character in this film following the downfall of House Atreides in the previous installment, and how his relationship with his uncle impacts this movie?
Well, everything about his relationship, Raban's relationship with his uncle, impacts him and everything that he does, because I think that is what he lives for, is seeking approval from his uncle, which makes him kind of pathetic, kind of sad. But where we pick up is him, where we left off was him being given control of Arrakis, and where we pick up is him having control of Arrakis and just doing a very good job of it. So he's starting to crumble, starting to fall apart, and it kind of picks up from there.
Awesome. And I wanted to know as well, like, your character has a lot of like rage, energy, is very intense. So like, as an actor, is there any sort of like preparation you need to do to like get in that headspace? Do you have like music you listen to just like?
No, it's funny because the rage thing is easy for me, and not because I'm an angry person, but my rage thing, I discovered this when I was wrestling. Screaming and yelling and getting it all out calms me.
Oh, okay.
It enables me to relax.
Yeah.
So when I'm able to do that, if you can do that and go like super big, then coming down becomes very comfortable. It becomes very easy. You can ease into that and just relax, just like getting rid of all your anxiety.
Wow, it's interesting. Yeah. So obviously adapting a character from literature is nothing new to you, but are there any differences in adapting a comic book character versus like a novel character?
No, not for me. I think, it's more the mental preparation. It's starting to, wrap your head around, kind of the background of the character, who he is, the root of the character. And it's more of an emotional preparation. And I guess it would be different with each character. I think the more direction you can get from your directors, the more material you have to draw from. It makes it kind of easier to wrap your head around. But I think I approach most of my characters in the same way.
That's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. The world of Dune is very fascinating and intriguing, being set very far into the future. Is there anything about this movie that you find most fascinating?
Well, I mean, speaking like strictly as a fan and being a kind of a lover of sci-fi, I love when people travel intergalactically.
Yeah.
When they're able to bounce from planet to planet, like we're traveling to different states. That's always very intriguing to me. I think everybody kind of loves the thought of space travel and the curiosity of what other planets might be like, look like, feel like, what other beings from those planets would be like, and look like, sound like. So I think that's it. I think that's the best thing about a sci-fi film is really you get to your imagination can run wild, and I think those thoughts, those curiosities being put into visuals is why people are so kind of enthralled in them.
Yeah, especially all spaceships and everything. It all looks amazing. It's very fascinating. So thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Happy birthday again.
Thank you so much. So this film is highly anticipated. So for the fans, can you tell us a little bit about it? Can you tease this film using 3 words?
3 words. I mean, if I could, it would have been much easier to do films, You can't really get it into 3. They actually tried on the press tour here. They tried to say it in 1 word. This film, and it takes actually 2.5 hours to get it out.
That makes a lot of sense. Can you break down for us where we find the Baron in this film after his encounter with Duke Leto?
Yeah, he's wounded. He's crippled by his accountant by the by the poisonous gas that Duke Leto let out, and he's depending on those sort of balls that are hanging around him and tubes and stuff. We don't know what it is. If it is it a breathing help or what is it? It's something important. And his baths, and he's looking for a replacement. He's looking for an heir to take over after him, and eventually he finds Feyd-Rautha.
Yeah, and talking about how that encounter cripples him and how it affects him, how, as an actor, how do you get into that headspace to play this character?
I don't know. I didn't care much about his psychology. I mean, I cared about his. It was more important to make him as a figure, impressive and scary, iconic stamp of a character.
Yeah.
And then the audience will fill in the blanks.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Dune has a lot of very fascinating worlds and characters such as your own, and there's a lot of interesting themes that are explored. Like, to me personally, I find this whole idea of prophecy very fascinating. What do you find fascinating about the world of Dune?
I think it's the power games are very interesting. It's a kind of it's a Renaissance kind of power. It's Machiavellian. It's like the fighting different houses of different princes in Florence, for instance, or like Henry VIII.
Yeah.
I mean, they chopped off heads, and it was not seen as bad as it was.
Right. Yeah. And last question, there's one scene in the arena that has very beautiful cinematography and colors. It's very unique in the look. And so obviously that's when I'm watching the final product. I'm curious, as an actor, did you get to look at the concept art? Did you know what it would look like colors wise or anything like that, or was it you were just going from?
You mean the fight in the arena?
Yeah, the whole planet of
the black and white.
Yeah, the black and
No,
white.
I didn't know it was going to be black and white.
Oh, okay. Is that?
I maybe didn't pay attention, but I could have known maybe. But no, it was a surprise for me.
Yeah, well, it works very well, and I love your character in this movie. Thank you so much for your time today. So
Thank
pleasure
you very
to meet
much.
you. Thank you.